Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into? We are back to Married at First Sight UK Series 8 and we are now on episode 21 and it is, as I call it, Confessions of the Couch Time, aka the commitment ceremony. We are going to get that right. It's just going to be known as Confessions of the Couch Time because I just think this is where these couples come to just confess all their shittiness, to be fair. Anyway, before we get into this episode, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I am on and doing videos. And let's talk about this episode. The one question I'm going to ask though is, why is Ella still there? Somebody tell me, why is Ella still farcing it in the show when her husband left, Nathaniel left? So that means she should go too. Why is she still there egging up herself? I do not know. All I kept on thinking was Ella and JJ should be made to leave, and if they had another connection there, like in terms of like, you know, how they do when they're looking at all these people that might be possibly compatible with the people that they're going to put on the show, then they should have had someone who was more than likely compatible with Bianca and see if she would be willing, or they would be willing, to meet up, get to know each other, and then come back on the show after they've been out of it for a little bit, and then come back on the show. That's what I thought should have happened. But hey ho, we live and we learn. Anyway, I am absolutely disgusted with the attitudes of Peggy, Tasha, and Luke at the end of the day. The way in which that, especially Peggy and Tasha, have like completely jumped on the Ella bandwagon in terms of, oh, it was, you know, people shouldn't really be angry at her. It wasn't really working out with Nathaniel. They're happy that she's found someone that really likes her and she can like them. But she went about it the wrong way, my people. Do you not understand this? I think the only way they probably would have understood is if she was coming for their men. If Ella was coming for their men, would they be saying the same thing? Would they really be saying the same thing? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And then you have Luke, who has his head up JJ's so fucking far that he's going to start speaking for this dude in a bit, man. He's going to be the absolute master puppeteer because this man is sitting there thinking that JJ's done no wrong at the end of the day, and people shouldn't really be lambasting him because he really didn't have a chance to tell Bianca. Yes, he did, Luke. He did. He had a chance to tell Bianca many times how he was really feeling. From the day of the motherfucking wedding, he had a chance to tell Bianca that he was not attracted to her. And that attraction is not building. Even from the day of the freaking honeymoon, he knew that attraction was not building. Did he have those conversations with Bianca? No, he freaking didn't. He took the motherfucking easy way out. And it's people like you, it's people like Luke, and it's people like Tasha, and it's people like Peggy that are giving these fuckers a fucking out at the end of the day and making them seem like, you know, they're only human. No, because if it was you in that position and JJ or Ella went for one of your partners, you would not be saying this right now. You wouldn't be saying it. So then we see like little discussions happen between Peggy and George. And my thing is Peggy can't let go of the fact that this dude does his YouTube in the way that he does. And I'm like, she needs to get out of her own way. And this is why, from now, I'm going to say that Peggy doesn't really like George. That's how I'm seeing it. Peggy wants the picture of George, but wants him to follow in terms of what she likes and what she's into in regards to how he behaves. She doesn't like the fact that this man does this freaking YouTube channel. She don't like it in the slightest. She finds it embarrassing. She finds it humiliating. Bearing in mind at this point, she has not watched any of those videos. So she don't even know what her sister or her cousin, through her sister, has been looking at the end of the day. All she sees it as, it's just brought embarrassment to them and their marriage. And I'm saying, well, you're judging George by your own yardstick at the end of the day. That's how Peggy is doing it. She's judging him by her own yardstick and building up a picture of what this thing is like, and she ain't even looked at it. And he's there having to hold his tongue in regards to what she's saying. And he's now questioning if Peggy is for him or if he can actually meet Peggy's needs at the end of the day. And I will say it here first, because I know it was said in the freaking other episodes that I think to a point George is giving Peggy the ick. I think it is, and I think it was from the time that they were on the honeymoon and the first situation came about the whole sexual connotation with the women and the porn thing and this, that and the other, and then the consistent situation with George and his YouTube channel and this baguette thing and the challenges that he does. I think he has given Peggy the full-on ick, like proper the full-on ick, and that's why she cannot move past this. She really cannot move past this. And then it moves down to JJ and Ella, and basically they're turning around and saying, JJ's saying that he had to follow his heart. And then you see them two meet up and they're both anxious about going to the confessions of the couch because they don't want to repeat of last night. What do you think is going to happen? Like, really, what do you think is going to happen when you two there are going to present as a united front and you're going to have Bianca sitting there as the injured party? How do you think you ain't going to get a repeat of last night at the end of the day? Because you both are fucking bullshitting yourselves. You both did wrong. You both want to accept that you did wrong. You're both just looking at the fact that, oh, we made this connection, so we should be happy. We came here to find love. We came here to find a wife. We came here to find a husband. Not somebody else's. You didn't at the end of the day. And that's the crux of the matter. Not somebody else's. So I have no sympathy for them. I have no empathy for them. Whatever happens with them happens with them. Whatever comes their way at the end of the day. So then we get to the confessions of the couch, aka the commitment ceremony, and first up is Mark and Sean, and they're getting on okay. And Mark has expressed the fact that yes, he can be needy and he has a fear that Sean will reject him. I will say that the issue is Sean can see Mark's point of view, like really sees Mark's point of view. And sometimes he says he does kind of harp on the negative sometimes. But also that is a lot of pressure to heap on somebody else that you have just met and come into this process with. And the fact that you do have a fear of rejection and you don't want Sean to hurt you. You've already verbalized this to Sean. That's going to be a lot of pressure on this man's shoulders, because he is going to have to literally think about every step that he takes, ensuring that he doesn't bring no upset or no harm to Mark at the end of the day, or having fearing that Sean is going to reject him, because things are going to come up. And Mark is going to have to try and deal with those issues, because if you keep saying, oh, I have a fear of rejection, if you do something I may fear that you're rejected, that's a lot of pressure to put on someone's shoulders. Like, seriously, a lot of pressure to put on someone's shoulders. But as it is, they still want to work on more, so they make the decision to say stay. And then it gets to Peggy and George, right? And basically George is talking about the fact that he does want to have sex with Peggy at the end of the day. He does want to have sex. And he understands that it's going to be at Peggy's pace, but this man is frustrated as fuck. At the end of the day, as I've always said, you cannot force someone into a situation because you're at a certain place and the other person's at a different place. At the end of the day, you're going to have to compromise and meet in the middle when it regards to that. So, to be fair, yes, George saying this, that he is sexually frustrated and he is wanting to progress onto the next level. He can't do that without Peggy. So he's literally going to have to wait and be at her pace in regards to that, because then it will come to some sort of manipulation if you're trying to say this in order to manipulate Peggy into a situation that she is not ready for and doesn't want to be in at this moment in time. I basically feel that Peggy is not attracted to George. That's how I'm seeing it. I don't think that Peggy is attracted to George. Yes, she gives him the kisses. Yes, she gives him the cuddles and this, that and the other. But that's not the be all and end all, because when it comes to actually doing the deed, you have to have that sexual attraction to someone. And I really, really, really think that Peggy does not have that towards George. That's my thinking. Yes, George has a fear of rejection from Peggy. and basically doesn't want to be in the friend zone with her, because that's where they are at the moment. They're literally just like, you know, kissing friends with each other, to be fair, kissing and cuddling friends, as I will call it, and it hasn't moved past that point. I'm just, yeah, I just don't think Peggy likes him. I really don't. I don't think Peggy wants to take that step, and I think the barrier for Peggy is the fact of George's interests and hobbies. I think that is her absolute barrier with this man. So then, as we know, they make their decision to stay. And then we go to Roz and Thomas. Oh, I do. They look so much better together, like really so much better together. And as I said, there's been intimacy, but it hasn't been frequent. It doesn't have to be frequent as long as they're enjoying themselves. That's all good in the hood at the end of the day. And I have nothing bad to say about them, because this is what, with Thomas and Roz, this is what the show is about. That's how I see it. The principle of the show is about in terms of how Thomas and Roz are working things, because Roz had no attraction to Thomas, like initially, at all, but Thomas had that attraction to her. But Thomas was not going to force things, and then he did come off a little bit cold, because Roz was asking for all these things from him but wasn't showing him the emotion back in that sense. So he didn't want to push things and push forward. So I think the turning point for them was when Roz basically used him as a human vibrator, and then Paul, the expert, came in and had that discussion with them, which then helped them to see how they could kind of change things within their relationship. And now they're just kind of going from strength to strength. It's a slow process for them, but they're making it work, and you can see the differences in them. And that is why I'm saying this should be the ultimate aim of the show in regards to how things progress, in regards to how you work as a couple, in regards to how you work as a in a marriage, and how you listen to each other, and how you interact with each other, and how you communicate with each other, because these two are able to communicate with each other, their wants and their needs. And I think that's what it's about. Whereas all the others were like pushing for something that may not be there straight away, but they're pushing their own agenda on that person. Peggy and George pushing their own agenda on that person and making them say, well, you have to follow my lead at the end of the day. There's no give or take, there's no compromise, there's no nothing. So they made the decision to stay. So then we go to Matt and Adrian, one of the new ones. I don't have anything to say about them just yet, because the only blip that they've really had is Matt kind of calling Adrian a little bit big-headed, and then they had that conversation about them. So I do kind of think that, yes, they have that attraction there, but if they have anything else, it does remain to be seen. So their decision was to stay. So then Ella comes on the couch by herself, and basically the experts called her out on her bullshit by saying, at the end of the day, last week when you were here, you were saying that your relationship was strong. You were saying that you could see a breakthrough with Nathaniel, and you were willing to work hard to get where you wanted to be with Nathaniel. So what the hell changed from then to now? And then Ella comes with the excuses. She comes with the excuses. And I'm like, you didn't even tell your friend about the shit that you were doing with JJ. You bring your friend up and say, well, they all made you realise when you had that discussion with your friend and you had that discussion with Tasha, that you were fighting a non-starter at the end of the day, and you felt that all Nathaniel wanted to be was just your friend. And then you had that instant spark with JJ, and you wanted to explore that. It wasn't something you planned, but you wanted to explore that. And I was just like, you know what? You're full of bullshit, Ella. Like, you're really well and truly full of bullshit at the end of the day, because you were saying one thing last week and you didn't even answer the experts' questions. How do you get from that all the way over to that? How does that work? Because I know guaranteed if JJ hadn't lit his ass into this fucking realm of Married at First Sight, you would still be there trying to work shit through with Nathaniel. You would still be there crying your ass off saying, what else do I do? I'm trying, and I still want to continue to try. And you probably would have wrote stay on that card too when you both got to the confessions of the couch. So I'm sorry, but whatever Ella says in terms of answers around this situation is full of bullshit to me at the end of the day. So Just as Ella's going into her soliloquy, Bianca actually interrupts and turns around and says, no, 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 no. Bianca was saying, let's make sure we get this story straight. And she basically told the experts that it was Ella who was compounding JJ with text messages. So it was Ella reaching out to JJ that caused this whole situation, because she's saying if Ella didn't reach out to JJ, there would be no situation. And I'm saying that's truth. There would have been no situation. But also the fact of it is, on the flip side, even though Ella did reach out to JJ, JJ could have made the choice to say, well, nah, I ain't getting involved in that. Yes, I do have an attraction to you, but I need to speak to the wife first and let her know exactly where I stand. But JJ's a chicken shit. JJ is a chicken shit. We've already discovered JJ has no balls at the end of the day. He has no balls. So I'm basically saying Ella needs to own what Bianca said, and the fact that she is a selfish person. She's a very selfish person. She don't think about anyone but herself and what makes her happy. And she didn't give a shit about Bianca and her feelings and how it would destroy things for Bianca. She just felt that, you know what, this is a man I want and I'm going to go for it. So she threw away her marriage with Nathaniel because she was all in it with JJ. And I'm just like, yeah, nah, she shouldn't get away with this shit easily at all. She really shouldn't. What had happened from there is the experts said, well, because Nathaniel's left, you are in essence no longer married. So although you've come to Confessions of the Couch, you stayed to give your side of things. We thank you for that, but it's time for you to leave. So she then gets up and goes and walks back to her seat. So then we get to Laura and Arthur. And basically it's an emotional one for Laura, because she literally lets out more in regards to how she was feeling and dealing with things, and regards to how things had happened in her previous marriage. And she said that she felt like her last marriage and her last relationship had taken things from her, and she has a fear of being left, basically. And she does have this feeling that she is not good enough, and that's why she promotes this bravado. But I would say in promoting the bravado that she promotes does not lend herself to people liking her. That's all I'm going to say on that, because people know my feelings in regards to Laura. I just haven't warmed to her from the beginning, to be honest with you. I just haven't warmed from her from the beginning. So they asked her, what does Arthur contribute? And basically she said, he cares for me and doesn't ask for anything back. And I'm like, is there nothing more that Arthur contributes to your relationship, or do you just see yourself contributing the majority of it? I just don't understand that question, because for me, I would have said a lot more about Arthur. She does in the next episode in regards to their love-hate week. But I sometimes feel that we don't hear much from Arthur when we get on the couch. We just hear a lot more from Laura and where she's and how she's working through things and how she sees Arthur and what Arthur does for her in certain situations. But I don't hear nobody ask Laura, well, what is it that you do for Arthur? Arthur, what is it that Laura does for you? How does she make you feel wanted? How does she make you feel seen? How does she make you feel heard? You don't hear nobody ask that man nothing, which isn't fair at the end of the day. So they made the decision to stay. And then it went to Tasha and Paul. And to be fair, I don't really have much to say about Tasha and Paul, because their relationship is going through, their marriage is going from strength to strength. The only thing I will say is, I swear down, if Erica rolls her eyes one more time, I'm liable to wish that they stick in the back of her motherfucking head, so all you see is the whites of her eyes, because that girl's right eye rolling game is on point. Like, seriously, if she rolls it anymore, she's likely to pull a motherfucking muscle in her head, I'm telling ya. Because she's so disrespectful. Like, Tasha did bring up the situation between her and Erica, but then Erica, of course, butted in and literally had to try and paint herself again as the victim. Yet Erica always starts with the shits. And I'm surprised that nobody sees this, because she's literally trying to paint Tasha as the fucking aggressor. Yes, I don't like the fact that Tasha freaking well is taking up for Ella, because I wouldn't agree with that at all. But that's me and that's my opinion. So they've made steadfast friends. So that's Tasha picking up for her friend at the end of the day and not seeing no wrong in how her friend has conducted herself. But that's for them to deal with. But the one thing I can't abide is people being disrespectful. And Erica is hella disrespectful towards Tasha. And she don't accept responsibility for her own actions. That's why you ain't going to see me catch up with Erica. There'll be probably 1 or 2 points, if not through this episode, for the next episode, where I'll probably agree with certain points that Erica has made. But that doesn't mean I like her as a person. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Anyway, Paul and Tasha make the decision to stay. Then it moves to Erica and Jordan. Haven't really got much to say about them, because Erica decided to, like, you know, use the whole of that entire couch time for her to get back at Tasha and, like, you know, pull out the ream that, you know, Tasha called me a tramp because of it. And then all the people are like, and I'm like, here she goes again. Here she goes again. So they made the decision to stay. I ain't going to talk much more about them. At the end of the day, they made the decision to stay. And then it goes to Jay and Luke. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like Jay. I do. But Luke is pissing me the fuck off. Like, really getting on my last motherfucking nerve right now. Luke is doing my Sweden. Like, absolutely doing my Sweden. So he brings up, I think he brings up the situation with JJ or something like that. And I'm like, this man seriously needs to keep out of other people's business. Drink your water and mind your business. No one told you to put your full-on Pinocchio nose into it. Eh? One of these days you're going to turn into a motherfucking wooden boy because you can't keep your nose out of other people's business. But the travel issue comes up between the both of them. And again, the experts say to them, you need to stop literally concentrating on that, because you have other things that you need to look at as to how your marriage is doing and this, that and the other. But I would say there is going to come a point where they are going to have to consider it, especially when it comes to the end and they get to the last bit where they say whether they're going to stay married together or not, going to stay together or not. And that's going to be a consideration in terms of their decision making, because you've got Luke on one hand who's literally saying, I ain't going nowhere, I'm not moving, I'm not upping up sticks. And you've got Jay on the one hand who's saying she doesn't really want to move, but she will consider it for the right person at the end of the day. Now, that's not a compromise. That is not a compromise. Anyway, with them, they wrote stay. So then we get to JJ and Bianca. Why does JJ always look like he literally wants to shit his pants? Like, he shrinks his head into his neck like he's got no neck and sits there all contrite like he ain't done nothing wrong and he don't want nothing to lamblast him. So Bianca basically said that from the start, JJ didn't let him in. They would let her in. There was a war. We all knew this. We all knew this from the get-go. So basically, Bianca said that all he wanted at the end of the day was to go back to his tried and tested, which is someone like Ella. Ella's face was like, no. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is Ella. That's what he does. He saw you. You are his tried and tested at the end of the day. You are the person he will gravitate to, because your face fits his bill of what he expects his woman to look like. At the end of the day, his Victoria's Secrets model probably looked like you too, but she ended up cheating on him and then dumped his ass. So come on, don't be that naive. Like, it's not, no, he likes me from, no, love, he likes the look of your face right now. That's what he likes, the look of your face. So basically, Bianca turned around and said that JJ is thinking with his dick. And I'm like, he really is. He is thinking with his dick. So Ella tried to pipe up and Bianca point blank shut her down and said, don't speak to me. I'm like, Bianca. Oh, that's my girl right there. No, Bianca, that's my girl right there. She was like, don't speak to me. Don't. I didn't ask you to speak to me. Do not speak to me. So basically, she said, I deserve so much better, and she's done. I totally agree with Bianca that JJ is thinking with his dick. He made no effort at all with Bianca. And he basically turned around when they were talking to the professionals, and they were saying Paul, it was Paul, because Paul put JJ on point. Because basically Paul was asking him what does he believe marriage is, and JJ answered him, and basically Paul turned his words back on him and says, well, you said marriage you need is created by having patience, which you didn't give Bianca any. You said that you need to be invested in the marriage, which you didn't invest in Bianca. And basically then he tried to say physically he was not into Bianca, and he wasn't. So in that case, Paul said you were thinking with your dick when it came to Ella. And JJ's face was like, I'm like, yeah, Paul owned you then. Paul owned you then, because what he said was true. What he said was true. You were thinking with your bloody dick. And if Ella doesn't think that straight off the bat, it's beyond me, because at the end of the day, JJ just walked in and managed a week in that place. When you first saw him, a week to your 4 weeks. And he first saw you and was attracted to you. That man was thinking with his peckerwood. Don't get it twisted. That man was thinking with his dick first, and everything else came later. So then before it ends, JJ had to jump in and basically say that Ella was his type, and he felt something, and he wanted to submerge those feelings, but he couldn't. My guy, just admit you was fucking thinking with your dick. And in terms of Bianca, you didn't like her because of the way that she looked, even though she looks 10 times better than you at the end of the day. And then Ella had to pipe in and say, JJ is the first person who's taken her for her and makes her feel like a normal girl. In what way, my love? That's all I kept on saying. In what way? Like, really well and truly, in what way? But I can't let the experts escape blame from this one as well, because they say they vet these people, they do X, Y, Z with these people, they look at their compatibility ratings and place them together in terms of compatibility. So if JJ was so compatible with Ella, why the fuck didn't they put JJ and Ella together from the get-go? This is what I don't understand. On paper, if he was so compatible with Ella, why didn't they put them together in the first place? And if someone else was so compatible with Bianca, put her with the person she's most compatible with. Why you put her with this fuck shit for? And then you made her be exposed to something that she probably ain't used to being exposed to in her life. It's fucking gross. And this is why I don't think the experts actually vet the process all that well at the end of the day. And they both made the decision to leave, which was good for them. At the end of the day. So them people leaving that day was Bianca, JJ, and Ella Bella. So that is where I am going to leave this episode, my great people. But I shall be back in quick succession with the next one. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and do videos. And I'll be back on your screens very soon. Peace out.